Okay, call the meeting to order 6:05. Councilor Warwick is unable to hook up with us, so apologies from her. Adoption of the agenda as presented. Councilor Bowden. All in favor? Councilor Kroll, carried. Delegations, I guess we did have them in a little bit. They will not be here tonight as they are tied up with another project, for lack of a better term.
Peace Officer Erickson phoned me this afternoon and said they're having a soft go with trucks and permits and stuff with the wind farm down in Landfine. So he said we've been swamped doing there, and he said he had just got called to go back. So he wasn't able to be here, but he does have the statistics there of what they're doing, and I will try and get him the next available opportunity to be here and talk about how things are going from their perspective, and answer any questions council may have on any files. I know that there's been lots of stuff out recently to our residents about unsightlies, because I've had to deal with a lot of people who weren't happy with their unsightly notices. So so I know that they're out there, and she's working through the process with a lot of them. So
she's also resigned.
What was that, sorry?
That officer that you were talking about, she's resigned. She enjoys her job so much.
Oh, okay.
that's news to me.
Something that, yeah, I mean, that's something.
But yeah, no, overall, I think it's gone well. I'd really like to talk to them. That would be my one major disappointment, I guess, for lack of a better. So
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. I think we need to get them here in front of you guys, and you can address any questions or concerns you have with them on how things are going, or what they are doing, not doing. So, but I think you can make them the motion to accept slightly amended motion, but to accept
as presented.
the enforcement statistics for the first 2 quarters.
Okay, council, thanks.
Skip that part.
I got everybody here. Council thanks the peace officers for their written presentation, town bylaw statistics for the first 2 quarters 2022. Motion by Councilor Murphy. All in favor? Carried. Okay, Mr. Moore, did you wish to speak tonight? Well, you are the only public presentation we have, so we thought maybe we'd ask. Okay. All right, moving on to the minutes of the regular meeting from council on July 12th. Any errors, omissions, corrections? Okay, we'll get a motion to accept those. Councilor Olson, all in favor? Carried. Minutes of the information meeting on July 27th, 2022. Errors, omissions. Motion approved. Councilor Kroll. Or did you have an error?
No, I didn't.
Okay, all in favor? Carried. Financial reports, has everyone had a chance to peek through them? Any questions?
I have a question.
Perfect. Councilor Bowden?
I was just see that some of the music in the park amounts vary. Is that because of the number of people that they have in their group?
No, that's just based on their cost to be there and our negotiation with them on the fee.
Okay, so it could be mileage, fuel, or whatever. Okay.
Generally, that's what they're guaranteed, and then when they ask for donations or tips, then that will go towards them, and that hopefully will offset some of the costs. But yeah, every entertainer is slightly different. slightly different price.
Thank you, just,
I still haven't gotten, are we getting more people, Kim, or?
Not necessarily. I wasn't there this Sunday, but I heard there was 30 or 40 there this Sunday. The music at the park was actually, I wasn't there, but I heard it was quite good. And there was quite a few people at it. But 30 to 40, unless, you know, when Garrett was there was the biggest crowd. We've been fortunate that we've had really good weather. You know, so I don't know, we're talking about options and different things in terms of if we're doing it again next year, what might be a better way. I know one of the suggestions to consider was whether we only did them twice a month, but we had 3 or 4 groups, you know, start at noon and go till 6, whether that would generate more people, because the entertainers are very good. So
I know the pool thing was very well received. I mean, we could hear them from our place, and my wife said they did quite well. So grandson was there, kids were there, everybody, nobody, there was nothing negative on it. So I'm gonna go with it being very successful.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I gauge things anymore. Nothing negative comes about it. It was awesome. So
yeah, no, I wasn't there. I heard it from my yard. I was in my yard doing some work and I could hear it. And
So you entertained the whole town. They didn't have to be there, but they were
that's
there.
right. I think if you were east of the pool, you heard it up in your area, but the wind was going that direction and they were faced that direction. So
I could hear it in mine.
yeah,
so yes,
There's some sort of technical difficulty with the meeting, and that's why Council Warwick is unable to join in.
Yeah.
Caitlin went to test, and I'm thinking it's not working for her either. Yeah. There we go. So I guess it's working for her. So I was gonna suggest that,
also connection,
Yeah, it must be
connections.
the-
She thought it might be.
so the link that was sent was the link Caitlin just used to.
Yeah.
Okay.
the first one,
Okay.
because she received it.
We're fine.
The one question I had, and it was more for interest, I was curious as to what the sidewalk assessment report for $4,000 was. Did they actually go around and assess all the sidewalks in
Yes.
Hannah?
Yeah,
That's
so
amazing. Good.
been working
There's a
with
few-
this group for a couple of years trying to pull it off and get them here. So they were here probably a month or 2 ago, and it's a very good report. It's just overwhelming. You know, the young lady who worked there walked every section of sidewalk and took pictures of every deficiency, whether it was very minor or whether it was major. And I think there's 2,100 defects that she found, some minor, some major across the board. So it's hard when you're trying to focus. She rated them from 1 to 3, with 3 being worse. So you start focusing on the 3s. And again, they're just pictures. So you're looking on, and you do it for a little while. Well, is this 3 worse than this 3? And still will be in the area where we'll be focusing on 3s and still not being able to do all of the 3s. But they rated them based on any deflection. So if there's any lift, there was deflection. If there was any scaling on them, or cracks in excess of half an inch. So it's a very good report, and very detailed. So
And that's great, because in the long run, it'll help us to budget what has to be done first.
yeah,
That's
no,
great.
it's good. It's good information. So
Thank you, thank you.
Cool. So can we get a motion to accept the payables checks 42294 to 42342 as direct deposits 001272 to 001337. Motion. Council Kroll. All in favor? Carried. Budget overview.
revenue and expense.
Sorry,
First, Mr. Mayor.
revenue expense. Any questions or concerns? Hearing none, motion to accept the revenue expense for July 2022 for information. Also Murphy, all in favor? Carried. Budget overview. There we go. Any questions? Councilor Olson?
Yes, I was hoping police officers would be here, but in your conversations with them, is the budget amount acceptable for them? Like, is this maintainable, that 6 to 8 hours a week?
Well, Councilor Olson, we budgeted for 8 hours a week
Yeah.
in our budget, and that was from January to December. So we've got, basically I don't think they had any time on a file until April or May, just based on the timing that by the time we got everything signed and moving forward. So I think it's pretty close. I think it will be obviously heavier in May to September will be heavy time, and I would anticipate and I would love to have more time between May and September for them to deal with the unsightly properties, the trailers, all those things, because winter is generally pretty quiet on the bylaw side. The only challenges we generally have in winter, again, will be snow removal is the big time commitment.
Yeah, I would love it if, our budget allowed the 12 hours a week for that period, but I don't know their time allotment.
Yeah, I agree with you,
Is that
Councilor
their
Olson.
busy time too?
And I've said to them, when they said, well, we'll put more time in, I said, you put as much time in as you can give to us to do that. But I think the challenge is balancing the demands they have from special areas and, our heavier demands in the summer. So as we move forward, whether there's the ability, and I don't know if there's the ability to have them have someone, whether there's a student or someone in the bylaw enforcement program or a peace officer program or something that maybe.
So are we getting our 8 hours a week?
Well, it was only budgeted for 8 hours a
No,
week.
Yeah,
They've
Well,
done 6.1.
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah, so, like I said, we will definitely have more hours May to September. But significantly less hours in the off season, depending on how many snowfalls we have, so. So I think the number we've got is pretty close. It's just whether they can provide the commitment, the service we need, in this heavy part, so. They haven't billed us yet for anything, so.
Yeah, I just know their workload when he can't make a 8:30 a.m. meeting or a 6 p.m. meeting. I know they're pretty nuts. Okay, that's all I had.
anything else? None? Motion to accept. Councilor Olson. All in favor? Carried. Municipal Planning Commission. MPC, I know they were busy with one guy.
And only one guy.
And only one guy. He's a nice guy though.
On my holidays.
Yeah.
Sorry. Everyone's had a chance to look at that. Does everyone understand what happened?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Well, yeah, it was my fear that if we lost the propane in town, that it's just one thing that's gone and
Yeah.
people need to go somewhere for propane. Well, if they're gonna go somewhere else, it's actually working out well for us. We actually had a couple from down in Strathmore spread the word, where people were able to build motorhomes.
Oh, wow.
And so we've had a few people traveling from Strathmore up into Hannah to get propane, so. It's, the one fellow was very disappointed because his tank had expired and we rejected it. And he said, well, that's what they told me in Strathmore. And I said, well, it's the same rules. I said, he said, well, I was under the understanding. I said, no, I said, I have to follow the same rules everyone else does. I said, Jeff, would you tank recertified? So I put him onto a guy in Calgary to recertify, and he was happy that, but. Okay. Any other questions about that? None. Motion to accept the municipal planning commission meeting from August 2nd for information from council vote. All in favor, carried. Senior administrative reports.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, just a couple of updates. So on the signage project update, there was a pre-tender meeting held today with interested contractors. I wasn't part of that meeting, but my understanding there was 5 signed contractors who attended the meeting. I think any questions they might have had got answered. At the end of the day, though, they have asked for an extension to the August 17th deadline, just because it's a large project with lots of signs and lots of information to go through. So they were proposing that the deadline would be extended to September 7th. So that's I think what they're moving forward with. As again, it is a Harvest Sky tender, and they'll be the ones that have to award it, but it will be for our signage. So interesting, good that there was interest in the project, but the timing gets tight, because I know these dollars Mark has to have spent, supposed to be spent by the end of March 2023. So that's their Poppy project. If you've had a chance to go by, the landscaping is done. So our commitment there is done. Now, I know that Cheryl and I believe with Councilor Murphy wearing another hat have talked about
I got
potentially
voluntold a little, but that's okay.
potentially things that, you know, the next step would be what would be inscripted on the panels. I kind of, that was a an issue back when the project was started, and I just said, well, let's just focus on getting it done, getting it up, getting installed, getting it done, and we can worry about what's going to go on after. So I haven't heard what ideas they may have, but I did say to Cheryl to let me know when they wanted to get together to talk about it. I do think we need to encourage the Legion to be a part of that process, because I do have concern, unless we're going to do something generic on the panels,
They will be generic.
that which makes it easier if they're generic. But my initial fear was they wanted to put names of veterans on there, and I was like, well, who's going to, we're not going to have enough room for them all, so who would be the one, what parameters do they have to be veterans here? Do they have to have served a certain period of time? Like what parameters
Criteria.
are there?
Do they have to have been honorably discharged? What-
And
So at the end of it, Mr. Neal, we came up with just generic background photographs of images that are inspirational relating to serving
okay,
at some point. So maybe one that shows older World War I, World War II, Korean War, and then some of the newer conflicts that have happened, and people have just served, who may not have been in a conflict, but still served our country. So, and to keep it quite generic. Her biggest concern was, is there any money left?
no,
And I said, trust me, if we have some, Mr. Neal will know. So the answer is no. So she will have to work on some kind of fundraising, I presume, to come up with the money for the panels.
There's all sorts of grants out there they can apply for.
Yeah, I'm only, she came into my shop to find out if I knew said, no, I'm not involved in the project, but she's very enthusiastic and I think she could use a little bit of help.
Yes,
So I kind of said, let me help get her on board,
Okay.
because she seems, and she struggled a little bit with the members of the Legion who just didn't seem as enthusiastic about the project as I would hope they would be.
yeah, I think part of the problem from the Legion's perspective is, when donations were being collected, for the project, they felt that, that was potentially hurting their requests and their donations they received from the public to keep their, building operating and moving forward, because people were giving money to the Legion. They were thinking they were giving it to the Legion, but it was for that project, not this. So, and again, the whole, I think the whole bit too about who would be recognized and how they would be recognized, that created some concerns in their eyes, because nobody wants to be the bad guy and miss some people who should be on there. And I think they were a little leery about stepping into that, so.
And especially when it comes to the individuals, well, he didn't live in Hannah, he lived outside of Hannah, so that doesn't count.
Yeah,
My grandpa was in World War One, can I put him on, because I live here,
Yeah.
so
yeah.
it was
so-
best to avoid all names.
Yeah,
and
so if it's
just-
gonna be generic, I think that's probably the easiest way to move forward. And as we looked at it, we haven't got all our bills in, but I think for the most part, I can pretty much safely say the town has fulfilled our commitment, and we were out of their money a long time, like out of the money that was donated a long time ago, so.
I will work with Cheryl and we'll see what
Okay.
we can do. Thank you so
Okay.
much for that.
Fox Lake Park, so we've been, basically all our full service sites have been full all summer. So, talking with the campground manager, normally when we get into mid-September, we don't have many campers there, so it's not worth keeping them on. So our original contract was to the middle of September. But it appears that those full service sites will be occupied and full as long as we are able to keep them full. So we've talked about extending until the middle of October as a time frame. Then that's getting pretty tight on the water side in terms of making sure we get it shut down and blown out, and the building has no heat, so we'd have the building shut down. So I've extended them to the middle of October, and I know I have to talk to them again. I know she's getting questions from some of the trailers. Well, can they say they're year round? They know they won't have water. They know that all they'll have is power, but they say their units are ready for winter. My biggest concern with that whole bit is just what are they gonna do if there's a heavy snow? We're not gonna be coming out there to clean the snow out so they can get out. That'll be one of the bottom priorities. So just to have some more discussion with Deanna on that. I know they're really starting to worry about accommodations in the fall, because I think all of the campgrounds are full in town or in the immediate area. And I think if that adds up to 60 spots, those 60 people are like, okay, well, we need a place to go and there's no rooms in the hotels. So we're gonna play that one by ear a little bit, but we have extended it to, we're using mid-October as our target, but we will be evaluating the weather as we get closer to it, to whether we have an early winter or not, to be able to, because we may have to shut the water down slightly before then if the weather's going to turn. So
Is there anywhere else in town that you could have trailers placed on a temporary basis if this happens to be the case? Because there's a lot of people who are gonna be spending money.
A struggle.
The power, yeah. It's just so many people, they're gonna eat in town, and the grocery store is amazing. You don't know anybody in the store. It's kind of neat.
yeah, no, it's definitely been a boon for the economy, no doubt about it. So. But I don't want to say this the wrong way. It's not necessarily our problem, but yeah.
Could be our benefit too.
It could be. The only thing, like I said, is my biggest fear is is snow and them being able to get in and out and you know, that wouldn't be a priority of ours if we had a heavy snow to,
I know they're looking for Quonsets already, farmers Quonsets in the park.
yeah, okay. And hopefully they find something that works, so. Marina condensers,
So I just wanted to comment on how well they're doing, 52,000 in revenue. It's
Yeah.
really good for Fox Lake and.
yeah, no, it's been good that, I think July for us was about $25,000. And I'm assuming August is gonna be very similar to that, so we're definitely gonna exceed our revenue budget, there significantly, which is good. But yeah, and if we, you know, I think if we had more full service sites, we would have more out there.
Any update from Doug and ACO on the?
The only update I have is that, I just signed, the agreement with ATCO, so they have to put a new transformer in. So I signed that off. There was a cost, I think, of $7,000 to do that. And they're hoping to have that done later this fall. So, and the transformer will be, the meter will then be on the transformer pad. So I'm not an electrician, but I know I'm talking with Doug. Doug and the gentleman from ATCO have chatted about what will work best. It gives Doug more flexibility to pull wires out of that panel when it's on the transformer. So, and we do have and I don't know what the correct term for it is, but we do have the panel box that we took down from the museum campground that he believes he'll be able to use as part of the installation of increased power and new power. So we're gonna get some of this start on it this fall, depending on how quick winter comes. Will depend on how much work we get done. So, but I know, speaking with the campground manager, she said things have gone very well. She said she advises people, especially in the hot weather, that if you want to run your air conditioner, that's fine. Make sure you turn this off and this off. Run it till it's cool. You can shut that down and then do some other stuff just to not be breaking the breakers. So, but she says everybody's been very good about it, and it's went good because we've had some hot days. So that's it there. Again, condensers still up in the air. Time frame. We are having discussions with minor hockey and figure skating just in terms of that. And I know Kevin was on holidays and is just back, so we chatted today, and he's going to reach out to the Delia Ag Society to see if they would be interested in putting their ice in earlier than normal. And if they're interested in doing that, then we'll make sure that our minor hockey and figure skating one will do their regular schedule in October in Delia, so it's worthwhile for Delia to put it in, and then we'll put it in and be prepared as soon as we can. But I get a little hesitant when, in today's world, when our contractor says it's scheduled to be shipped October 3rd.
What year?
I get a little hesitant in this world, so but that's what they're telling him, is they'll have it ready to be shipped for October 3rd. So
Supply chain is such a wonderful thing.
yeah, so I'm a little leery about that. Just want to let you guys know too that it is, it seems like summer's going fast. So the pool will close here August 28th. Last day for Epic Adventures is the 26th. Last day for our seasonal students will be the 26th. So some of our staff will certainly decrease in numbers here at the end of the month. And as we're moving forward, AUMA, just want to know, hopefully you all got emails that you're registered. Did everyone get emails out of that group? So you get something, you're giving me a funny look, Council Olson. So no?
I think I did.
Okay, because I did register you. Registered Mayor Pavischuk, Councilors Olson, Bowden, and Murphy. Those were the ones that had indicated they were committing and able to go. I did book at the Sandman Signature Hotel, so it's a little further away from the conference center. I'm guessing it's like it's about a 20-minute walk one way, but it was significantly cheaper. So, and the best part about it was we have until 24 hours to cancel. So we're not like the ones, the Alberta municipalities hotels. If you book, you are paying.
They're yours.
So whether you back out or not. So tours, want to look for the last week in August. If there's any date or time that works best. Ellison said that week would be the best for him. We do have our info meeting scheduled on the 31st. Don't know if we have anything outstanding for the 31st, but whether we wanted to replace the meeting with a tour, if that worked for people. Since they should have that day in their calendar.
Good work, Emily.
Yeah, I'm seeing yeses. Okay,
That sounds
and
great.
Todd hasn't got back to me yet. I knew he was on holidays, so I haven't heard back from him yet, so I'll follow up. I thought he was back this week, but I haven't heard from him, so. And I know I haven't been out on the site, but I know they've been paving. So I don't even know if they'd want us out there right now because they've got border paving out there, so.
Border of Brooks.
Brooks, sorry, that's what I meant.
Brooks.
Yeah, Brooks Asphalt.
So would we meet here? at 8:30?
I'll confirm that, Councilor Bowden, yeah. Kevin didn't have a report, from the facility side. Everything is going well. We're in that stage now where our grass has stopped growing, so. The kids are, especially when it's hot, he's got students in the arena painting, dressing rooms and painting the lobby and doing stuff like that. So it's gone well. Nothing outstanding. I forgot to ask Kevin today to get a confirmation if he's heard anything on the tennis court repaving. Last he had heard from them, would have been in that time frame now that they would be there, but I forgot to ask him this morning. Other than that, on Michelle's report, as I said, Epic has been well utilized this year. We haven't had a full program for 2 years with COVID. So it's been a good year. I think we've averaged over 20 participants a day for the first 5 weeks. They just went to Prairie Oasis on Monday, and I think they've got a couple of trips planned here. They did go to Heritage Park one day. So it's been good. Again, we've talked lots about music in the park. We've got 3 sessions left the next 3 Sundays. Commercial kitchen. We've had our community center rate. We've had one booking under that rate so far. Still looking for grant funding to look at renovating the Lions Hall kitchen. Sounded very, I guess, optimistic that some of the monies that Mark had allocated through Harvest Sky that was surplus could be used for that project. And it sounded like the WED representatives thought that might be a good fit. So there might be some more dollars there than we thought and quicker access to them. Still, drive happiness is still slow. I don't know if you're hearing anything from anybody, but we've got some people that are registered on the system, but they just haven't wanted to or decided to book any rides. So I don't know what that means, but we've tried our best to get the word out. We've had inserts through the post office. We've done social media. We've done stuff in the paper. I think the Herald did a story on it. So
It's a strange thing, like it's, you continuously see need. And when you point in that direction, it's like it's off the grid kind of thing, so.
yeah, I don't know where. I think it's one of those things. If we can get it started and get some conversation out there amongst the users that, well, I used this and it was really good. All I did was I did this, I booked it, did this, it was simple. I think that might
And
kickstart
affordable.
it,
It's affordable. too.
but it has been slower than we had hoped it would have been, definitely, so. And I know that, when Sergeant Wellsman was here, he talked a little bit about victim services, and we said Michelle has been involved in that steering committee. So I know she did send the link there in that stuff if you want to check out more detail on victim services, so. And I think that's all that I have from that perspective, Mr. Mayor. If there's any questions about anything, I'm prepared to answer.
Hearing none. I get a motion to accept senior administrative official report. 8.0. Oh, sorry, Brett. Sorry, Brett.
Lori, yeah.
And Lori. I clicked one too many, but
I don't have anything to add. I'll entertain questions if anybody has any.
Who is S Salon?
It's just a new license. They
New
moved
business
into
license.
Twisted.
Okay,
New business
that's-
license.
anything else for Lori?
I like the bit that you put out regarding cat owners and the responsibilities and such. So
So that reminds me, Councilor Bowden, so did we put that, I know we did that on our electronic news. Was there a social media post?
The intent is that there should have been. I would
Yep.
have to go back.
Was there a
and look
social
to
media
make sure.
post?
Yeah,
I think so.
Okay, because I thought there would, and I must have missed it, was there a lot, I figured there would be lots of comments.
No,
I didn't see any comment.
people were really good.
I
think
just
it's
thought that
more
would be the
songs.
stimulus that would have created the discussion about. No, you shouldn't have your cats outside. Yes, you should have your cats outside. So maybe because there wasn't any traction on it, I didn't see it.
Or we
So-
didn't plant the seed for that discussion.
Right, if it's a polarizing comment, then you get polarizing responses, but it was very well worded. And it was the cutest picture.
Okay,
Who's gonna get mad at a kitten? Can't.
okay, no, that's good.
Mr. Olson,
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I don't have anything to add to my report.
Street lines look good.
They are doing good. Randy's doing a great job.
It's nice to be able to see them again.
Yeah, we're trying to get MCON.
We got a
If there's any
response. We did get a response from MCON, but they're thinking it might be a month because they just finally got some.
I was gonna say, they just got paint.
Yeah, so he said it'll be a month and the price is gonna go up, but he was gonna send us a new quote.
Yeah, and we get on MCON to do all the perimeters
Mhm.
and the center line in town, so.
Yeah, that'll be good.
And we did, if you noticed, we did add, we've got a few extra crosswalks at J.C. Sherrick, so. Kent had phoned me about 3 hours too late, but where they fenced around the track area. They used to have the kids would go back and forth between the arena and the pool and back. And we had a crosswalk sign and we had a crosswalk on the west side of the intersection that goes to Hannah Crescent. And with the fence being there, it's not in a great spot. So they asked if we could put one on the west end of that intersection. So we did. So there's lots of white paint at that corner. And then they asked if we could add another crosswalk further to the west. They've got a man gate that goes out into the track and it lines up with the teachers' parking lot and the sidewalk that comes out there. So we added another one there. And the biggest one we did was at the pool.
That's quite
Yeah.
unique.
Oh,
It
That
is-
was Randy's idea. He came up with that and him and Robbie, they did a great job. It looks good.
It was quite
They
shocking.
went, the sidewalk is in the middle of the street. So what they did is they angled to the sidewalk like in Banff and then they did a great job.
cross-hatched it, yeah,
I have to go that way.
yeah.
It looks good. He did a great job.
The funniest one is I had a call.
Which side of
What's
the
all
pool?
the pylons in town for?
It's on Third Street,
Third and fourth.
Yeah,
So that
pylons.
coming right into.
Fourth Avenue there.
Pylons everywhere where they're working on a crosswalk, they put pylons up so people can't drive across it. And I get got a phone call. Yeah, there's pylons everywhere. You gotta go around them. So like,
That's the idea.
Oh.
And it's expensive paint, so we're just gonna leave it.
And just before, I just wanna have a proud dad moment here. Talking about the pool, the Hannah Seals Swim Club was in Innisfail for regionals this weekend. There was 15 kids swimming and 15 kids are going to provincials.
Oh, wow.
We brought home 67 medals.
Wow.
And we broke 2 records. Joffrey Woods swam 60 lengths and broke the Hannah record in time, got a gold medal. And Julia Kavanaugh did 100 free in under 15 seconds a lap. Very proud, and we just got wild carded into 3 more. So every kid that's going is swimming at least 3 major swims and then the relays.
Wow.
And that's this weekend coming.
How many medals came to your house? So
I had, my daughter had, Cameron had 3 gold, a bronze and a silver, and Lexi had 3 silvers, a bronze.
Wow.
And now they got wild carded in.
So that's then those provincials are in Edmonton.
Oh, wow.
At the big pool.
Big
At the
pool, that's what I was
Kinsman-
thinking.
So we're gonna go.
And another feather in your cap, Mr. Olson, is the kid that takes care of the pool for us, are used to anyway.
Yeah. He's good.
No, he's good. He did a phenomenal job with it, so.
So and that's James Wright and Emily Wright. They're our coaches. Julia is also an assistant coach, and he's done phenomenal with the kids. This is the biggest showing that the Hannah Sim Club has had up there.
Wow.
So out of the region for the trophies, Innisfail, which is a winter club as well. So the Innisfail, Lacombe, and Red Deer were the top 3. And Hannah finished 4th in points, just under those
Big
clubs.
centers.
Wow.
Out of 9 clubs. in the region.
That have indoor pools.
Yeah.
Geez,
So they did phenomenal. It was a great weekend.
that's awesome. Congratulations.
It's awesome.
And that's it. That's all.
Well, that's awesome.
Good for them.
Yes. Good for them. Thank you for sharing that.
Anything else for Mr. Olson? Okay, now we can get the motion. Accept. Counselor Bowden, all in favor? Carry. Speed bump request. Everyone had a chance to peruse it.
It's gotta be the busiest back alley I've ever seen. That is a lot of cars.
Yeah, and I didn't put that in the report, but I know it breaks it down too between small cars, medium, large
Yeah,
vehicles
yeah.
too, so.
Yeah, it's all broken down. That's amazing.
Cars, trucks, long.
So I thought that was good information and, you know.
I see
interesting
Counselor Warwick
information.
waving her hand at me. Sorry,
Oh, she's on?
Counselor Warwick,
Oh,
yeah,
okay, I didn't know she was on.
go ahead.
Thank
She's
you.
muted. All right, let's try this. I'm gonna phone you, Ange.
No,
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
can unmute, she can unmute.
She can unmute?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
So,
Hello?
Ed,
Can she not hear us?
Yes, I can. Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to just confirm, after reviewing the documentation that we received and all the information that has been gathered to this point, I know there had been a prior motion made and was defeated. And it's my understanding that to bring this back to the table, if one of the counselors, such as myself, presented a notice of motion, we could reconsider the motion that was presented
Yeah, we discussed that here.
before, the speed bumps in the back alley behind that particular back.
Connections.
You're freezing up on us. We've discussed that here already, Council Warwick. And yes, that is correct. If someone voted against the original motion, they can't reintroduce it as a new motion, so.
I would be willing to be the one to reintroduce a new motion.
However, myself and yourself, Council Warwick, cannot bring it because we were on the defeated side of the motion. Somebody from the prevailing side would need to bring it forward.
It wasn't a recorded motion, though.
No, but we know who voted, I guess, is what my comment is, Councillor Warwick, so. That's.
We
the
will have
premise
a
of it.
motion.
Okay,
So if these here numbers are all correct statistics, why isn't the cops doing something about it? Like, why?
I can't answer that, Councillor Crowell, but I don't know if they know these numbers either.
That's, I was wondering if they've seen.
I don't believe, I haven't shared this information with Sergeant Wellsman. But again, it goes back to priorities and where do you want your RCMP to be focusing on? And typically alleys are not an area that is focused on, would be my understanding.
Well, when you've got a
Situation.
problem as big as this, you got 3,000 vehicles involved. Is that not some kind of a priority?
And they have enforced theirs, as I did that one day before we did all this. And maybe these numbers will change his mind a little bit and give it more attention if they can afford the time. But I mean, these numbers certainly seem to show that alley is exceptional in my mind, which it's all an opinion. It's a shortcut for a lot.
If you set those same blocks up on Palliser Trail, I'm sure you would get just as many vehicles, just as many speeders. If the cops aren't around, people
Yeah.
drive, right? That's a busy road too, right?
Self municipals the same way.
Exactly. If you
Yeah,
were to
and it's-
set them up, you could get those numbers.
I find it crazy that you compare those two roads to a back alley though too. It would be.
It is
comparable
crazy,
numbers.
but it is, that is.
Yeah, it's an exceptionally well-traveled alley, just based on the design of the subdivision.
Of the sub.
Yeah.
It gets more use than the front street, so.
But I think if you gave out 5 tickets, the other 95% of the people would probably say, maybe we should slow down.
Yeah,
Like, you know, I mean,
yeah, cool, I can't argue that.
It's just whether they're speeding when the cops are sitting there.
that's right.
I mean, today the cops did a blitz. Once people caught on to it, everybody was slowing down.
Well, maybe 25% of the vehicles are the same vehicle. They're going back and forth and everything, so, if the RCMP are given these numbers and if the people that are seeing these people speed by or hearing them and can get their license plate or their description or know who they are and try to help capture those ones, then that might help pass on the message that they're breaking the law and they should be slowing down.
Well, sorry, cut you off there.
No, I'm done.
I just want to point out these, like these temporary speed bumps that, from what I understand, on gravel don't even need to be staked down. It'd be 40, 50 pounds, whatever's out there. A temporary measure at $300 piece isn't going to mean the police cannot enforce in the future.
But what's for stopping somebody for throwing them in the back of their truck?
Nothing.
That's.
I mean, same as every garbage can on it, but I don't think we have an epidemic of people stealing. People kick them out of the way. I don't know, we've
Yeah.
certainly spent more than $600 on other things. And these numbers show that that is an exceptional alley. I
Oh,
don't
yeah,
feel it's precedent
I'm
setting.
not saying anything about.
Where the
I'm
number
not-
300, like who's selling?
Oh, EU line or whatever it was.
Well, like,
Yeah, the number I
Like-
quoted in the report.
yeah,
so.
their access to Rocklands or Uline or I
And
would go through you,
I'm not
because
gonna-
it's straight from Kellis, but we can access them through Acklands or the Alberta Traffic Supply or whoever.
Yeah. Well, we have direct accounts.
If I were to put in my 2 cents, this is certainly exceptional, and most back alleys, people don't even go down. So, but this is their way around, in that area of town. And it's a concern because even though it's the highest rate at 82 kilometers an hour, that 5-year-old walking to school would not survive. And it's so fast. Even the average at 34 kilometers an hour is fast for a back alley because you can't stop on a dime on gravel. So,
But that 82 kilometers, was that at 3 o'clock in the morning or? I mean,
Yeah,
and
it's an outlier.
I'm not trying
It's
to.
an outlier. I
Yeah.
would, you know,
no, absolutely.
it's the same if you did it on Palliser
Palliser.
Trail, you might have somebody who did 140 one day, so.
Yeah.
Well, I live on Second Ave, and I can assure you, I have seen incredible speeds on that road, over 100 kilometers an hour many times.
But. Council Murphy, would you like to make a motion to install the temporary speed bumps
I would be happy to, Mr.
on
Mayor.
the alley that runs perpendicular to Fox Lake Trail? Quantity of 2.
Quantity of 2. I think it would be a good start.
Now, would it be possible after we put those in to get the,
The speed monitoring.
that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Certainly ask.
Yeah, back again and just see what it did anything.
To have it like a trial basis and
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to go ahead with 2 speed bumps on the Palliser, or so the Palliser Trail.
No, Shaker Crescent.
Shaker Crescent Alley. All in favor? Opposed? Counselor, okay, carried.
oh,
We
And well, I have no problem giving this to Sergeant Wellsman. I mean.
No,
that's-
no, I definitely.
Yeah, I mean,
As
and
long as they're prepared for horn honking and, because that's what the weather going to do. We'll put them out.
Counselor Bo,
I have a question. How long are they gonna be there? Like, is this a trial?
this is,
And
this is trial.
okay, so how long is
A,
it
it's
gonna be there?
A, Counselor Bowden, it would be a trial, and B, regardless, the issue was we would have them up before snow flies.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
probably mid-October, end of October or whatever. In case, we do have to plow out the alley, they're just in the way, so.
Okay, thank you.
just after those responses, we have to at least try something, because clearly that's a lot of vehicles. Maybe people get so annoyed with it, they'll stop taking the back alley. That'll reduce it.
Yeah, that's,
Well, so we're closing the
Yeah.
alley.
Well, I was gonna
So
say
they're
that's
closing the alley.
some different ideas. I mean, you can close the alley, you can make the alley a one-way.
One way.
There's a multitude of things that can be done. Not all popular, because as soon as you
Oh, no.
make it a one-way,
Not at all.
somebody's gonna go the wrong way down it.
Well, and again, for me, if you make it a one-way, it's enforcement.
Yeah.
Someone has to be
Oh,
there
and-
enforcing
Yeah.
that, right? So,
You can't close it to the garages.
yeah, and everybody's garage is in the back.
Well, if you
and-
make it, like, if you put basically at that Smith's corner, if you closed it there, then they can go in and out. I mean, that's, you're
Oh,
not.
well, I got no problem not being popular, but I don't want to get lynched here.
I'm just saying
So,
that if you
yeah.
wanna rectify the problem, we can fix the problem. It's,
Just don't make it a throughway.
that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
just block it off
Yeah.
at that corner
No, I agree.
and
Yeah,
problem solved.
Yeah.
100% problem solved.
yeah. If people can't follow the rules, they lose the
Yeah.
privilege.
So,
We'll start with the speed bumps and then we'll see how that goes.
Well, it's for benefit for people in their own community, so.
so we need to motion to accept the traffic information report from special areas of any traffic activity on the south portion of Shaker Crescent Alley for information. Councilor Olson, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Seniors amenity zone.
So, Mr. Mayor, before there's a motion, I'll just go through kind of what's transpired and where we're at. So as council's aware, we did receive approval for funding through the Canada Community Revitalization Fund for $369,435. The original, with the town matching that with $123,145 for a total of $492,580. Originally, the plan was to construct a 2.5 meter wide asphalt walking trail on the west side of Palliser from the lodge to Second Avenue, complete with benches, lighting, garbage receptacles, etc., and then extend that trail into the Canada Grey Pocket Park on the east side of Palliser Trail. Replace the sidewalks on the east side of Palliser Trail and the north side of Fifth Avenue to the intersection of Fifth and Fifth, which is the Hector King Hunter Park intersection. Construct some intersection bump outs at that intersection, Fifth Avenue and Fifth Street West. And then in Hector King Hunter Park, replace the existing, I'm gonna say it's probably close to 1 meter concrete path with a 2 meter wide asphalt trail, just because that sidewalk is so narrow in the park and people can't even walk side by side on it. So that was the original big scope of the project we hope to do. As you are aware, we didn't receive any tenders. We've extended the tender, didn't receive anything. We went out to invitational tender and we got one tender, which was to do all of that work was 1.7 million from their tender, which we didn't have that money. So we went back to the contractor and basically have brought the project back in line to them in the amount of $419,353.77. And that would include the removal of the existing concrete pathway in Hector King Hunter Park. Includes the hauling off site and tipping fees. Complete the subgrade prep, so excavating to a depth of 225 mils. Then complete constructing a 2 meter wide pathway with 150 millimeters of compacted granular base and 150 meters of asphalt. The supply of 5 bike racks the town would install. Supply and placement of landscape boulders to identify the transition of the stream crossing. So there would be 8 boulders in total, 4 on each crossing. And they would provide a multi-flow horizontal drain under the pathway versus a bridge. So that will be there. So that would be the work that would happen in Hector King Hunter Park. The town would assume the rehabilitation of the park. So we would assume under this, we would assume the rehab of the sod areas and any electrical or irrigation that may be damaged as they are removing the sidewalk and installing the new trail. So that's Hector King Hunter Park. Palliser Trail pathway, so they will again complete the pathway subgrade prep to a depth of 225 mils. They will construct the 2.5 meter wide pathway with 150 millimeters of granular base and 150 millimeters of asphalt. They will supply 10 50 millimeter caliber Brandon elm trees the town will install. They will supply 4 courtyard series benches the town will install. They will supply and install 10 bollards. That was one of the things that was missing off the initial tender. They didn't put in, so bollards wherever you can enter onto the pathway from an existing driveway or access point. And I know it's not a deep ditch. If someone wants to access it, you know, they can come off the road and access it, but putting some bollards there to stop them from driving up and down it. And they will trench and supply the power distribution equipment, junction boxes, and conduit for future lighting. So that would be there if at any one time that the town was able to do another phase of the project, it would be there to do that. It does remove the Fifth Avenue sidewalk project out completely, including the asphalt on the north side of Hector King Hunter Park. So with that, consulting services, the contract was for 34,000. The tender award, 419,000, leaves us about 39,000 for contingency that we can use when we're rehabbing. Most of the rehab stuff I'm hoping is gonna just be labor, but we need to take into consideration, we may have some irrigation repairs, some electrical repairs to have the lights back in working condition. So we would you do have the option to reject the tender and basically tell the government we're not moving forward with the project, or accept the revised tender and scope of work to remain within the project. My recommendation is to move forward with the revised scope as described and award that tender for 419 for that work.
Okay. One question. and
Yeah.
This is, I guess, kind of not really conflict, I don't know. The tipping piece, so on the east end of my lot where I'm at, it's drops off substantially. Got border paving, dumping dirt in there now. Could we put that, I'm willing to take the cement there at no cost.
You want the cement?
You just want to fill it in, right?
I'm just trying to fill it in and build it up is what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
So if we dump the cement on the bottom and borders dumping dirt and stuff on top right now, so.
That we would hopefully be able to negotiate the tipping portion out. I just didn't know if you would want the concrete.
Well, it's quite a substantial drop at that very, like along your, like the town stuff to the east of me. It's quite a drop off there, and I'm trying to build it up to one level, and if we dump the cement at the very back end of it and build accordingly, we'd be fine.
It's your
Yeah, it's
property,
fine.
Mr.
Yeah.
Mayor, so
Yeah.
that certainly would be an option.
Councilor Olson.
By the way you're talking, you seem very optimistic about the extension.
I'm not optimistic about the extension.
Oh, okay, all right.
If I was optimistic that there would be an extension, I would probably say, let's wait. Re-tender it over the winter in hopes that, timing's better and there's more competition to do this work, but I'm not optimistic that they would extend it, and I don't want to necessarily lose it, so.
And,
Councilwoman.
and the goal is to still have the money spent by March 31st.
Well, the goal is to have the money spent by the end of this construction season,
So October.
October, November,
November.
depending on what our weather. The
Or as
original,
much as
the-
possible.
yeah, the original tender called for the work to be done by mid-October, so.
So
Councilor Olson.
when will start time be roughly if we go ahead?
I don't have a start time, but I would think it would be fairly soon. And, I don't imagine it's gonna take them a ton of time to do the work, but I would imagine if they want to be done by October 15th, they'll be starting by first part of September, mid-September at the latest. So,
Their crew will have to find accommodation as well.
yeah.
So
I didn't know
maybe
the
having,
Fox
having the Fox Lake open to help accommodate them,
Yeah.
getting the project completed.
Would it be possible to have the guys who are doing the painting of the new crosswalks while it's nice out, to paint one across from, how do they do, the west side of Palliser Trail where you're putting the sidewalk, and then across the street to go to the Brave, right?
But potentially, we'll wait and see. I don't want to guarantee, we'll wait and see. The other thing that we're hoping to do, Council Murphy, is use the crosswalk we had.
Oh, yes.
Here,
Right.
We have to buy the
mate.
opposite side, the mate.
Yeah.
But we could use that at that intersection. So it would at least have that.
But, and I agree with Councilor Murphy that at least painting the lines at that point will get people used to knowing that there's something going on and to maybe follow the
The
directions.
only,
or whatever.
yeah, the only concern we have right now is I know we're out of white paint.
Okay.
We are.
No, but when you get that.
So
should you get it?
if we can get some white paint, that's something we can certainly consider before winter hits and before, the trail is completed, so.
Never in my wildest dreams would I have thought you couldn't get lime paint. of
Right.
any kind. Like, it's-
We thought we had enough, but
Yeah.
we did a few extras. The pool was extra. And we tried co-op and they're out and traffic supply hasn't got back to us yet.
They don't have any,
I'm guessing they don't.
they don't.
That's why they're not getting back.
But when it is available, I think that'd be a great idea.
Yeah, if
If it is
we,
available.
I said to Brent the other day, I said, it's a good thing. The school has their new turf going in, because we usually paint their lines on their football.
Yeah,
Don't
it
have
would have
white
been
paint,
helpful.
so.
Because we used the cans we ordered for them.
It's white out. Take a while.
Okay, it's not glitter and glamour, but it's not doom and gloom, so. Need the motion to award the tender for the town of Hannah Seniors Menu Project. Urban Life Solutions at a cost of $419,353.77 plus GST. With the funds derived from the Canada Community Revitalization Fund and the town of Hannah surplus. And reserves as approved in the 2022 capital budget. Subject to confirmation of change of project scope from Western Economic Diversification. Motion. Councilor Kroll. All in favor. Carried.
Oh, you know what we forgot, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, I
What
was
did we
gonna,
forget?
The public hearing.
Oh, public hearing.
Is Tracy on?
yes,
Okay,
she's been on for a while.
sorry.
I was gonna ask, I see Tracy up there, sorry.
So, Mr. Mayor, there is a
Yeah.
document there for you to follow on the public hearing, so 10.01.
Yeah.
We just moved to it just naturally, we're just 8 minutes late, so.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, we can, Tracy.
Perfect, thank you. Are you guys going to open the public hearing and preamble?
Yes.
Great.
How do I do that, buddy?
Just announce that you're opening the public hearing.
We're opening public hearing in regards to the seniors amenity.
No, the bylaw
Bylaw.
1025.
Bylaw 1025.
So I'll explain the rules, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
So basically, we will give an explanation of the purpose of this public hearing. The applicant for the proposed land use designation, I don't see Mr. Delisle here, will be given opportunity to explain the reasons for having made the proposal. Before the hearing concludes, the applicant will be given an opportunity to make any closing remarks. Any person present who wishes to address the public hearing, either in opposition or support, may do so. We ask those of you are present to speak that they would give us their name, who they represent, and whether they support or oppose the proposed land use change. A list will be prepared if we have numerous people to speak, and they will be restricted to 5 minutes. No discussion will be permitted between those making presentations. Only the councillors will be permitted to ask questions of the presenter for points of clarification. And the purpose of the hearing is to gather information regarding proposed land use designation change and to be able to give consideration to all opinions when making a decision as to whether or not the proposed amendments should be in place. So I'm gonna then not worry about the explanation of the purpose of the public hearing. We know it's for bylaw 1025/2022 and redesignating lot 7 and 8 from commercial transition to residential. But I will turn the floor over to Tracy. She's got a brief presentation. For those of you who don't know Tracy, Tracy is the new senior planner at Palliser Regional Municipal Services. So Tracy's been with them, I'm going to guess about 3 months. Tracy can correct me. Tracy is not located in town and doing work remotely for Palliser. I'll turn it over to you, Tracy.
Great, thank you very much. Thanks for having me at your first meeting. I was going to share a quick presentation, but I cannot share my screen. Can the host please make me able to share?
Should be able to now.
Great, thank you. Does everybody see my slides?
Yes, we can.
Great, thanks. So very quick presentation. I don't want to take up too much of your time. So yeah, as mentioned, this is the public hearing for proposed bylaw 1025-2022, and it is a redistricting application. So I'm going to just go quickly through some background, the evaluation analysis, how we notified for the public hearing, and our conclusion. So the landowner is not here tonight, but the application was put forward by Gerard Delisle. And this bylaw was given first reading July 12th of 2022. So the purpose of this bylaw is to redistrict a portion of 314 2nd Avenue from commercial transition to general residential. And the purpose of this bylaw is to accommodate the use of the existing building as a dwelling unit. This is the subject parcel here, the big red arrow at 314. This is the amendment map that was sent out. It was posted in the newspaper and sent out to all the adjacent landowners. And this is what the final map in the land use bylaw would be amended to. So when we look at the analysis of this proposal, it does align with Hannah's MDP. In particular, the MDP recognizes that one of the planning challenges in Hannah is the availability of rental housing stock. And so the purpose of amending the bylaw is for the owner to create more rental housing opportunities within existing residential dwelling. And the other thing that that we evaluate in looking at a land use bylaw amendment is the surrounding land uses. And you can see the arrow again where the subject parcel is, and surrounding that parcel is a significant amount of R2 zoning as well. That's the yellow zoning. This property is commercial transition as shown in orange. So it does fit in with the surrounding neighborhood. And the reason for this is that the existing district, commercial transition, doesn't allow for new residential uses unless it's an apartment building or attached housing, a form that this is not. It's a single detached dwelling. So a redistricting is required. But before it can be used for residential purposes, it would also require a development permit application. A notification of this public hearing was sent out to all adjacent neighbors in accordance with the Act. It was also posted in the newspaper for 2 consecutive weeks prior to the public hearing. No written comments were received in advance of the public hearing. So my conclusion is that the proposed bylaw is consistent with the goals of the town of Hannah and will provide opportunities for rental housing in a location that uses an existing building and existing infrastructure. That concludes my presentation.
I have a question, Tracy. Just did you, maybe I missed it, did you, when you talked about the notification, did you talk about the letters that were sent out to the immediate neighborhood as well? So it wasn't just in the post, paper. It was also letters sent to, I believe, the other side of the street and this side of the street. And as Tracy mentioned, there were no comments received, either positive or negative, in regards to the application.
Yeah, that's correct, Kim. Letters were sent out about 3 weeks in advance of the public hearing to all adjacent properties within 60 meters.
Everybody understand? Okay.
So you can be, since the applicant isn't here, Mr.
The
Mayor,
applicant is here, so closing remarks, we can.
you can close the public hearing,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you.
So we need a motion to that, Kim,
For,
to approve that
You'll need a motion for second reading
Yeah.
and for third reading.
Council approves second reading of bylaw 1025/2022 for land use amendment plan 6113 AW. Lot 13, lot 7 and 8 for redesignation. Motion. Council Murphy. All in favor? Carried. Council approved third reading of bylaw 1025/2022 land use amendment plan 6133 AW block 13, lot 7 and 8 as redesignation. Final reading. Council Bolton, all in favor? Carried. So do we send a letter to Mr. Delisle now? Is that?
Yeah, I'll chat with Tracy in terms of where the application was made to Palliser, so whether they will make the notification, so.
Okay. Something you like to add to my repertoire.
Like something every day.
Oh, yeah. Council reports and roundtable. I will start with mine because I did present one. It was deathly quiet.
That's not a good word. Mr.
Sorry. Very quiet. Not much going on. A few complaints about traffic. One about a sewer issue. Met with a couple residents about that, and other than that, like I said, it was good. Got to learn a little bit about land use. Things that we perceive to be easy and straightforward. My lot being a commercial lot, I thought, what a better place to put a propane tank. Apparently, it doesn't quite meet the criteria. It's just one of those idiosyncrasies that you don't think of. And so anyway, I'd like to thank the staff and development officer for walking through that municipal planning, getting it approved and whatnot. So we are doing propane at the shop now legally. So, no, it's fine. We were a couple of weeks waiting for the process, and yeah. So I mean, very good learning curve for me. It's one of those things I just assumed where we're at logically would be the place to put it, right? But we did learn that it's not a big deal. It's a good experience. So other than that, it's been a good go. Next, Council Murphy.
I apologize, Mr. Mayor, for not having actually written a report. Things might have been a little quiet, but not on the home front, so it's been very busy for me. In the last month, we had the Hannah Lodge open house, which I volunteered for the day and got a little burnt. Lots of people showed up. We have a meeting next week, so hopefully we'll have more information on whether or not that has helped put bums in the beds. I don't know yet. The CAO for the Acadia Foundation has resigned, and we need to replace her. And I understand that the manager for the Hannah Lodge has resigned. So there'll be some work ahead of us, and hopefully we'll find people who are passionate about the residents as much as I am. And that's about it.
Council Olson.
At least I made one. It was just late.
Thank you, Mrs. Bolton.
Just a couple meetings on there. Nothing crazy. The golf course things are busy and everybody's getting stressed out and short-staffed. The usual that hits this time of the year. So hoping we can get a manager in place to get manager in place for the fall, get them up to speed for operations over the winter, and then we can get the ground running next year. That's it.
Grant application for the shed got
Denied.
denied.
Yes. So we're moving forward with a slight scope change. The funds are there. We've got contingency available, just make sure with the bank that we could. But there's funds there. We just don't want to get into a bad spot where we can't complete the project.
What was the reason for the denial? You know?
Locked off with.
I would- yeah.
Oversubscribed. is
I
the
would agree.
oversubscribed.
The oversubscribed is the
Yeah.
term, so.
No money.
And it's an interesting one, and even when they were going down the process, I didn't know how well it would be received. I know it's a critical component to the golf course, but it's nothing that the public accesses
Yeah.
or uses, or if it was gonna be,
No direct benefit.
if it was gonna be an irrigation system installed that was gonna improve the golf course and make it better or something,
Improves land
It-
value.
it's an easier sale than
Yeah.
a maintenance shop, right? So even though the maintenance shop well needed and well deserved, it's not as pretty as something else it could be, so.
I apologize for not getting mine done in time, but yes. Like.
Like Cassandra's
At least
doing.
I did. Yeah, it hasn't been all that busy, but there's been a few projects on the go. And, one thing I do want to add is that I believe we have invited, I had asked the manager of the hospital if she would be interested in coming and speaking to council to give us an update on the numbers of beds, whether or not we're going to get our bed numbers back after beds were taken away due to COVID and staffing issues, and also to provide us an update with the nursing situation and that sort of thing. And apparently they have to approve everything through AHS. So I believe they're going to be coming at the end of the month.
Yeah,
The
they
same
haven't,
time we're doing the tour.
they haven't confirmed.
No,
They've said that might be the best time, but they haven't confirmed. If they confirm, that's definitely something
That's
we will
priority.
adjust. That's a priority. Yeah.
yeah, and so I did circulate
Yeah.
that, and probably it was a wordy email and all this. And I did not have anybody else adding anything onto it. I also asked if they could see if there is any discussion about services returning to Hannah, which I think I probably already know the answer. But when they're closing emergency rooms in other areas, maybe there's something that can be done and brought back to Hannah, like the dialysis that we had at one point, the laundry service, the food services, things of that nature that would definitely benefit our area. And the fact that, we're promoting our community as somewhat of a retirement community. I think it's definitely important that we have a hospital that can support our residents and the people that we are attracting to our community. So I believe there will be 3 that had been indicated. There would be 3 coming. And so I am assuming 2 are AHS and 1 would be the manager of the hospital. So I'm quite anxious to hear any news, and I'm not really sure what.
The dialysis is a huge need. There's people traveling from Castor to Drumheller because the stepper is full and Drumheller is virtually full. And we have several people from Hannah traveling for dialysis. Not that that's the type of marketing that I
No.
want to do, but it's a service that we need to provide. So,
Exactly. So it never hurts to ask the question,
no, exactly.
and put it out there. And, if there are concerns, then I think it's better to be proactive and get on it with other government officials that we may be connected with, or within this area is what I mean, connected, to help us make sure that we can provide top-notch service. That's
Council
all.
Cole?
I didn't write a report, but I haven't done. Haven't been to
When
any
was,
meetings.
so I do have a question though, Councilor Crowell, because you attended the Veterans Memorial AGM. Is there anything that came out of that?
No, other than like that, there's pamphlets coming out, and that's the only thing. It's to be out for September 15th, I think it is. Supposed to be out, and that's the only thing I got from them. They're still continuing. Like they need some turnouts and stuff like that, but that's Alberta government,
It's still lobbying, they're still lobbying for additional turnouts and additional passing lanes.
So that means
The hiking corridor.
That's, yeah.
Councilor Warwick, you look like you're chomping at the bit there.
I don't think he's done.
And then the food bank,
Sorry.
I've assisted them quite a bit, you know, helped them. I've been there every Wednesday since. Counselor Camp getting passed on, so. Yeah.
Good.
That's good. And that hot lunch, it's a great thing. Like, it's a really good thing for the community, you know. It's very well presented and it's very well accepted, yeah, you know, so.
I did go to that same day.
Yeah.
That's something that we, maybe as council should look at. I know they have no storage, space. I tried to donate some hamburger and some other things, and they have no freezer space
To which,
to store for
for the hot lunch or for
the
that?
hot lunch.
Okay,
I believe their lunches are made by one of the caterers,
Yeah,
so
Yeah,
maybe
but
it
the
would be in
caterer
that.
doesn't have any storage either. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So what are you suggesting?
Maybe buy the deep freeze.
Something, well, even like the Lions Hall, like, I mean, is there not a place there that
Their deep freeze in
a
there?
guy could put something, you know? And the caterers can have access to it, I guess.
I know I've seen the drawings of the proposed commercial kitchen at the Lions Hall. And it's got a lot of amenities in it, such as freezer space.
but we wouldn't want to mess
No.
with those, but if there was, and I don't know the building well enough to say whether there's space in there or not, but it could
Well,
be
we may not
temporarily,
even be in there.
could be temporarily. It's just not convenient. As convenient that off-site, right? So
Yeah.
I know that our guys helped the food bank. Did you guys get that?
Yeah,
moved?
it's there.
So we had a local resident donate a deep freeze to the food bank.
Oh.
And so they asked if we could move it for them, so we did this week, so.
Oh.
So the food bank, because they had some, again, similar, they had some donations of hamburger coming in and having a difficult place to find a place to store it, but they did get a deep freeze and we were able to help them move it there, so.
3 deep freezes very full.
Awesome. Council Warwick,
Mr. Mayor, contrary to your prior comments, I'm actually not chomping. I'm sitting back, relaxing, taking it all in, being quiet. But thank you. I haven't really had much going on this last while either. The only thing I've been engaged in quite frequently is with Community Futures Meridian Region. And the one thing we have been addressing lots are some loan approvals, some interests of loans and lines of credit. And I just wanted to remind the council, if there's individuals that you're hearing about in our communities or surrounding areas that are looking for small loans, this is one, Community Futures is one organization that specializes in small businesses and entrepreneurs that are starting up new businesses. They have competitive rates, and Vicky is very, very good at working with an array of different age levels of people and individuals and businesses to be successful in their loan approvals. So I just wanted to remind everybody, if anybody is looking for that Meridian Futures is always readily available, and we put some measures in place that they can do them very quickly, like within, you know, a short amount of time, several hours to up to minimum of 3 days for loan approvals. So outside of that, I have nothing else to report. Thank you for accommodating me in trying to get connected earlier as well. I appreciate that.
no problem. One last thing, I forgot, our chamber golf tournament's on Tuesday, so if you're not busy, get a hold of Brandy, let her know you'd like to golf. Kim, same thing, that's right. Okay,
We do have some town representation, so.
perfect.
The only thing I wanted to
go
mention,
ahead.
sorry, when Councillor Bowden was talking about having AHS come in, the ambulance situation is a family member just 3 nights ago, with an acute infection, was in the hospital in Hannah, was stuck in the emerge room for 12 hours. They needed the bed. So they were, the only rooms available was one in Innisfail and somewhere else. And the family member convinced them, let's try the Lougheed because the surgeon's already there. And they said, that's great. It's a formal transfer. They did all the paperwork and then said, good luck. And medicated, middle of the night, he had to drive himself to the Lougheed because there were no ambulances in southern Alberta available. People are gonna die. We're gonna have residents die.
Yeah,
And I'm
that
very
should,
concerned.
that should be one that should have been on that list then to ask them to.
We'll make them care. And if they won't, we'll just care ourselves.
No,
We'll
and
take care of our
that,
people.
as Councillor
Yeah.
Bolton said, that should be a topic on the
Yeah.
agenda as well. So.
Yeah. So we'll have to add that on there.
What if there was an accident or, that was terrible, absolutely terrible.
So we'll add ambulance service.
Thank you.
Councilor Warwick, sorry.
Mr. Mayor, I would just like to add to Councillor Murphy's comments. Those problems are happening everywhere in our province and beyond. I've had family members, even in the bigger centers, have gone in with broken legs, sliced open arms, and 13 hours later, they're not even able to see doctors. So our facilities throughout the whole province are being stretched beyond capacity. I don't know if there's a shortage or what's happening, but we're in dire straits right now throughout the whole province.
Yeah, I don't think there's any, that was easy button to get us out of this, so. When I see the South Calgary, Airdrie, those are ones that kind of shoot a big sign across my bow and go, holy cow, with these guys, what are we like? We're struggling, but they're in trouble. So,
I agree.
All the reason to have our hospitals to be able to do more.
yeah. Okay, so we can get a motion to council accept correspondence for information. Councilor Bowden, all in favor? And I do apologize, oh, sorry, we got correspondence next. Anything other correspondence of interest?
You just approved correspondence. Yeah, I think you meant, I think you meant council
Council
reports.
Sorry, yeah,
There's nothing really in
correspondence.
correspondence. Unless, I don't know, I haven't gone on that website. But the Ministry of Justice has a website on the future of provincial policing. If anyone wants to peruse it, there's the site address for it, so.
Okay, so motion to accept correspondence is presented. Council Olson, all in favor? Great. The closed session, I had a phone call last week and I said I wanted to have a meeting after we were done. Proper way to do that is to have a in-camera or a closed session. So I would ask that we have a motion to move into camera. Councilor Bowden. I would ask that everybody leave.
Yeah.
Except